Good morning and Namaste, yogis. Welcome to my balcony in Germany. It's a nice sunny day today, and we're going to start out with a nice slow flow to do any morning or any time during the day to wake up our body and feel energized. So come to the front of your mat, cross your legs and close your eyes. Start breathing through your nose and enjoy the church bells. Even though they can be quite loud, I really like the sound of them. It's a nice wake-up call in the morning. So then we'll slowly start rotating our shoulders up to our ears and then scraping our shoulder blades behind our back. Really creating some movement and space in between our shoulder blades, contracting our clavicle in front when we move the shoulders forward, and then expanding our clavicles when we roll our shoulders back. And then we switch directions, linking our breath to our movement, scraping the shoulder blades behind our back and creating some space, expanding them when we move the shoulders forward. And then we'll reach our left arm behind our back and we'll try to clasp our hands together. And if you can't reach, just hold on to your shirt, that's fine. Just make sure that you're sitting equally on your hip bones so that your spine isn't rounded. You want to make sure that you're level. And then switch, reaching the right arm up and around, clasping your hands behind your back. I always have troubles with my left arm and reaching behind me that way, so I'm holding on to my shirt here. Making sure the spine is straight. If you need to sit on a blanket to make sure that your hips are level, that's totally fine. Just pause the video and get some props. Extend your legs sideways. Keep your toes pointed up to the sky. Make sure you're equally sitting on your hip bones and your spine is straight, and then slowly fold forward, still keeping the spine straight. Walk yourself forward with your hands and make sure your spine is in line with your hips. If you're moving forward, your hips wants to move with it. Make sure that your sacrum is attached to your lumbar spine and not separated. We want to protect our spine, our lower spine here. Our back, that's very important. So we're also not rounding our back, we're keeping straight. And with every exhale you can, if you like, move slightly forward. But because we just woke up, it's in the morning, we are a bit stiff, so it's totally fine. If you feel a stretch here, then just stay here. It never matters how deep you get into a pose, as long as you feel a nice sensation, then that's enough for you. And slowly walk yourself back up. And bend your knees, the soles of your feet touch each other and keep about a foot distance apart from your feet and your groin. And let your knees drop to the side. They never have to touch the floor. Keep holding on to your feet. And then fold slightly forward, again making sure your spine is straight. Just warming up our hip here. Especially in the morning, we have some stiffness in the hips and in the spine, and we want to make slow movements to warm them up and not hurt our body. And remember to breathe through our nose. And with every breath, notice how your spine is getting longer. You're becoming more flexible in your hips, creating some warmth just from this simple movement even. Just stretching. With every exhale you can get a little bit lower if you like. Make sure your hip is moving with your spine. And then slowly come back up, shake off your knees. Maybe start taking deeper inhales and exhales. And then come to a seated position, to a wide-legged child's pose. And let your head drop to the floor. Your hands are in front of your body. Placing your hands onto your mat. Again, we're creating some space in our hip here. And don't forget to breathe. It's nice to start out the day with slow movements and spending more time in each position to really get to know our body and what it needs. And slowly come back up, come to a seated position, either sitting on your heels. You can stay here, or if you like, you can move your hips in between your feet and sit on the floor. If that hurts your knees or your hips in any way, just come back up and sit on your heels. That's also okay. Then reach your hands behind your back, moving your pelvis up away from your feet and let your head drop behind you. Opening our chest here, such a good abdominal stretch, strengthening our muscles in our spine. Opening our back and opening up our hip flexors, and then slowly come back down. Sit in between your heels or on your heels. And then, if you like, you can either stay up or come to your forearms and touch your feet. That's how much space you want to have behind you, and then lift your hip up again. Lift your chest, widen from your collarbones. Lift your hips and breathe. Let your head drop behind you. Really stretch out your spine here and exhale, come back down. Now you can either do this chest opener again or come all the way down to the floor. If this is hurting your knees, just come back up. If this is hurting your lower back, tilt your pelvis back away from your spine to create some space and elongate your spine here. Keep your head on the floor and your shoulders as well. Make sure they're not creeping up on your ears. But if this doesn't feel comfortable to you at all, just stay up and do another chest opener. And then slowly come back to a tabletop position. Knees, hips wide apart, hands shoulder width apart. And when you inhale, arch your back, and exhale, round your back, cat and cow. Warming up our spine here, lubricating and elongating our spine. Such a good movement for our whole body. Remember to link your breath with your movement. Tilting the tailbone up and then down. Pubic bone forward and then back. Really good. Make sure that you're moving your whole spine from all the way down where the tailbone is to all the way up where the cervical spine ends in our neck. Lubricating our spine is so good for us. Come to neutral and look to your left hip and look to your right hip. Creating a nice stretch on the side of our body, and again look to your left hip and to your right hip. Keep your spine in line here. Good job. Move your hands forward, tuck your toes, and come to a downward facing dog with bent knees. You might not see it because I'm wearing loose pants, but my knees are bent. And then slowly extend your left heel to the floor. Keep the right knee bent. And then switch, bending the left knee, stretching out the right leg and reaching the right heel down to the floor. Stretching out our hamstrings. And then bend both knees, keep your toes tucked, and then reach your heels down to the floor slowly. Keep bicycling your legs. Lifting one foot off the floor and then the other. Deepening each stretch on each leg. Very slow and long downward facing dog here. And you remember, you can always come down to your knees in case you get tired in your shoulders. And then step your feet up, to your hands. Come halfway up with a straight spine. Look up. Breathing here, place your hands on your shins or anywhere to keep your spine straight. And then exhale all the way down, Uttanasana. Inhale, come all the way up. Reach up. Keep your spine straight and your pelvis drop down. And exhale to Samasthiti. Come to mountain pose. Palms of your hands are facing forward. Inhale, come all the way up again. Hasta Uttanasana. Exhale, fold forward. Keep your spine straight. Inhale, come halfway up. Place your hands on your shins. Exhale, step back to plank pose and lower yourself. Oh, no, we're not lowering ourselves. Now we're lowering ourselves all the way down to the floor. Great. Keep your hands close to your chest and then come up to a low cobra pose. Lifting our chest off the floor and looking forward. Just a slight bend on our upper back. If you like, you can come to a high cobra pose. Still breathing here. Making sure your pelvis, your pubic bone is still pushing down on the mat. And then slowly exhale all the way down. Keep your hands and your arms on the side of your body. And the second will come up again. And then look up, either to a low cobra or a high cobra. Whatever feels right for your body today. If you like, you can tuck your toes and lift your thighs off the floor as well for upward facing dog. And if you do that, keep your lower back protected by keeping the tailbone tucked in. Very important to prevent lower back pain. And then roll yourself back to downward facing dog. Reaching your heels to the ground. Hands are shoulder width apart. Stretch your hips up. Create some space in between your shoulder blades. And drop your head and look in between your knees or your feet. Make sure your biceps are facing forward and your shoulders are rolled in the shoulder sockets to protect your shoulders. And your lower arms are also looking forward, as are your elbows who are facing up. Come back down to child's pose. Reach your hands behind you and grab your heels. And then lift your hips up to rabbit pose. Keep your head on the floor and give your upper back a nice stretch. You're releasing tension from your shoulders and throughout your whole back in this pose. It's a really nice stretch in your thoracic spine. And remember to hold your heels here to really push yourself forward. And then slowly come back down to child's pose. Breathing here, keep holding on to your heels and then come up again, lift your hips, rabbit pose, Sasangasana. Keep the crown of your head on the mat and stretching forward, such a good stretch for any back pain. Reach your hands in front of you, come to tabletop position and inhale your right leg up and keep extending your right leg and pointing your toes while your elbows come down to the mat. Pulling our hip open and then exhale the leg down. Slowly come back up to tabletop position. And then inhale the left leg up. Keep reaching the leg up while you're moving down to your forearms, pointing your toes up and looking down. Keep the leg straight and both thighs engaged. Drop the leg down to the mat and come up to downward facing dog. Tuck your toes and exhale. Reach your heels down to the mat and then come down to your forearms. Breathing here, step forward to dolphin. Still creating space in our shoulders, but keeping our shoulders rolled in to protect them. And now on the next inhale, we lift the right leg up to the sky. Opening our hip again, pointing our toes. Equally distributing our weight in our forearms. Exhale the leg down and then come down to a child's pose. Dropping our knees to the floor, untucking our toes. reaching our hips back to our heels. Balasana with our hands extended forward, and then we'll come up to Dolphin again with our forearms on the mat. Tucking the toes and reaching the hips up. Inhaling the left leg up to the sky. And breathing here. Really creating some length all the way from our foot down to our elbows. And then walk yourself one step back with your feet and come to Dolphin Plank, keeping the elbows down on the mat, engaging our belly muscles in this pose, keeping the hips level. And then come to side plank on your right side, reach the left arm overhead and give the side of your body a nice stretch. Breathing here and then come back down, switch to the other side, side plank on the left side. Inhale the right arm up and overhead. Stack your feet together. If this is tiring, you can also drop the lower knee. Breathing here, engaging your belly muscles, your abdominals, and then come back to Dolphin Plank. Good job. Stay here for another second and then drop your knees down to the floor and come to Sphinx pose. Keep your lower arms on the mat. Reach the shoulders back. Create some space in your collarbones. Drop your head on your forearms. Bend the left leg. Reach your foot up and grab your left foot with your left hand. Inhale and lift your chest. Support your upper body with your right elbow on the mat and give your quadricep a nice stretch. Breathing. Pushing the pubic bone down on the mat and then release and switch sides. First come back down again and then bend the right leg, reach your right arm back and grab the right foot, and then come up, inhaling, lift your upper body off the mat. And give your quadricep a nice stretch. Nicely done. And release. Now either push yourself up to plank or come to your knees and roll yourself to downward facing dog, reaching your heels down to your mat. And then on your next inhale, lift the right leg straight up and exhale the foot in between your hands. Windmill your arms up to Warrior 2. Left foot is flat on the floor. Make sure your hips are facing sideways and your right knee is bent over the ankle. Engage your thigh muscles here and breathe. Look to your right hand. And then inhale, straighten the leg and move your hips back. Stretch forward. Exhale the right hand down to your ankle. Triangle pose, Trikonasana. Move the right arm above the head. Reach forward and then exhale, big circle in front of your torso. Inhale, come up with the arm. And exhale, big circle in front of the body. Again, inhale, arm goes up. Exhale, reaches forward and all the way down to the mat. Keep your back toes tucked. We'll stay in a low lunge here. Opening up the hips wider and then inhaling the right arm up to the sky, looking up to our right hand, making sure that our hips are level and our left hand is next to our right foot. Drop the left knee and reach back to hold on to the left foot. If this is hurting on your knee, just stay up in low lunge, that's okay. Giving the front of our thighs another nice stretch and then drop the foot back to the mat. Keep the toes tucked. Come into plank pose and lower yourself all the way down to the mat. Inhale to a high or low cobra or to upward facing dog and then roll yourself to downward facing dog or come to your knees first and push into downward facing dog. That's also fine. Don't forget to breathe here. Let go of any tension in your face, creating some space in between your shoulder blades. Remember to keep reaching your upper arms upward and rolling your shoulders in. Inhale the left leg up, opening up our hips here, and then exhale the bent knee in between our hands. Windmilling our arms up to warrior two. Back foot is flat on the floor. Make sure your knee is over the ankle and not leaning sideways. Look up to your left arm, engage your abdominals and your thigh muscles. Breathe. And on the next inhale, we'll straighten our left leg and we'll reach forward as far as we can until we drop the left arm down to our ankle or anywhere on our leg, and reaching up the right arm to the sky, looking to our right hand and reaching hand overhead. Breathing. Nice stretch on the side of our body, and then exhaling our arm around in a big circle. Inhale up and then exhale again round. And again inhale up, reach the arm overhead. Inhale here and exhale. Oh, one more circle. And then drop the arm down to the mat and we'll come into low lunge. Our right toes are still tucked and our left knee bent. Hands are on both sides of our left foot. And then we'll reach the left arm up to the sky, looking up to our hand. We're rotating from our thoracic spine here, our upper spine, our hips and our lower spine, the lumbar spine, are staying in line. Drop the right knee down to the floor and reach back with your left hand to grab the right foot. Keep looking up, a nice twist in our spine here. If this hurts your knee, again, put a blanket underneath your knee or don't bend the knee at all. You can also leave it on the floor. Look down, reach your arms down to the floor, come to plank pose and lower yourself halfway down or all the way down and come up to upward facing dog. Roll your toes to downward facing dog. Remember those transitions you can always modify to your needs. If anything hurts you, just come to your knees and come up to downward facing dog as you like. Come to half forward bend and then fold all the way down to Uttanasana. Keeping your hands on the side of your feet. Inhale with bent knees and a straight spine all the way up. Hasta Uttanasana and then Samasthiti. Come to mountain pose with the palms of your hands facing forward, creating space in your spine. Okay, we'll come to a balancing pose now. Inhaling here and then put your hands on your hips. Come to a comfortable position and focus on a spot in front of you. And start lifting the right leg. Place your foot anywhere on your thigh or on your lower chin, but never on the knee. So I'm going to put it right up to my groin. That gives me the most stability. And then push your thighs into your foot and your foot into your thigh. Make sure that your hips are level here. We want to keep a straight spine and not a rounded spine. And then whenever you're ready, reach up your arms. And if you really want to challenge yourself, close one eye and then the other eye. I tried closing both eyes and I got wobbly. So I slightly opened them up again. Oh, there we go. Breathing here through your nose, focusing on a spot. Balancing. And then release the arms down to your hips. Release the foot. Oh, no, not yet. Bend the foot and then reach forward. Kick. And drop it down to the floor. One side should feel longer than the other side now. And then we come to Tadasana again, finding our breath, grounding our feet, and then whenever we're ready, we'll reach our left leg up, anywhere on the thigh or on our shin, but never on the knee, pushing the foot into our thigh and the thigh back into our foot, keeping the hips level and the spine straight. And then whenever you're ready, reach up your arms. Challenge yourself if you wish, but whenever you're wobbly, just come back to a normal tree pose. Find your balance here. Virasana. Creating length in our spine and balancing. Then come down, bend your left leg, reach the foot forward and kick and release. Nice job. Shake off your feet, come up to the front of your mat again. Inhale your arms up to the sky, Hasta Uttanasana, and then exhale all the way down to forward bend, Uttanasana. Inhale halfway up, straight spine, straight legs, and then step back to plank pose. Lower yourself either halfway down or all the way down, and inhale to Cobra or to upward facing dog. Exhale, roll your toes to downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up to the sky. Exhale, bend the knee and open up your hip. Exhale, reach the right knee forward in between your elbows. And then drop it to the left. Place the foot on the floor and reach your left arm up to the sky. Balance here. Exhale the left arm down to the mat again. And inhale, right foot up to the sky and place it back on the mat. Come back to downward facing dog. Good job. If you're tired, take a rest and come into child's pose. If not, then reach up your left leg up to the sky and bend your knee, open up the hip. Really nice breathing here. Exhale the knee in between your elbows and then move it to the right side. Drop your foot on the floor and inhale your right arm up. Giving your body a nice side stretch, balancing here. And then come back to plank and reach the left leg up to the sky and come back to downward facing dog. Good job. And then jump forward and come to a seated pose. Move your knees close to your body and hug your knees in. Find your balance here and then lift your feet off the floor. Make sure you're sitting equally on your sitting bones here and keep your spine straight. Balance, engage your belly muscles and focus. Good job. Hugging our knees, giving ourselves some love. Reminding ourselves of the things that we love about ourselves. And then you can keep holding on to your shins. Move your legs sideways and grab your toes. Still keep your balance here. And if you can, straighten the right leg. Keep holding on to your toes with your middle finger and your index finger. And if you're still balancing, straighten the left leg to the side as well. Oh, engage your belly muscles to give yourself stability and then come back down. Drop one knee and then the other knee, but still balancing, still holding on to your toes, and then release. Let your knees drop to the side, soles of the feet are facing each other, and then roll yourself slightly forward. Try to keep your spine straight here. And move your pelvis forward. And then come back to your back. Keep your knees bent. Move your feet closer to your hips so that you can touch your heels with your fingers. Keep your arms on the side of your body. Let your hips ground to the floor here. Breathing, releasing any tension in your spine, in your hips, relaxing the psoas muscles. And then hug your knees in while you're in your supine position, laying on your back. Still making sure your spine is straight, in line with your neck and your hips. And then move your knees apart and grab your toes again. Happy baby pose. But grabbing your toes And then you can stretch the right leg and then the left leg, straightening them out, giving your hamstrings a nice stretch. If you like, you can either roll side to side to give your lower back a little massage. Bend your knees again to happy baby pose while holding our toes. Still elongating our spine even though we're laying down. Then hug your knees in again. Drop the left leg down to the floor, keep the right knee close to your body, and then drop the right knee to the left side and drop your right arm to the right side. Look to your right hand and twist. This is a full spinal twist. Make sure that your right shoulders are still on the floor. Come back to center. Hug both knees in. Drop the right leg down to the floor and reach the left knee to the side. Extending the left arm to the left side and looking towards our left hand as well. Nice twist. Making sure the left shoulder is still on the floor. And when your hip is moving to the side, twisting your spine, make sure that your lumbar spine is moving along with your hip. We don't want to create too much friction where our sacrum attaches to our lumbar spine. And then come back to center again. Let both knees drop side to side. Just releasing any tension we may have accumulated in the hip here. I hope that this little sequence woke you up a little bit. Just a very slow and nice sequence to do in the mornings to wake up our body. And then we'll come to a final position, Shavasana. Let your legs drop to the floor and your arms drop sideways. Keep your palms facing up to the sky. And come to normal breathing. Close your eyes and relax. And while you're here, I just wanted to remind you that whichever thoughts you woke up with this morning, do not decide what kind of day this is going to be for you. So I hope you had a really nice sleep last night and you woke up positively and energized. But in case you didn't, remember you have the whole day to change your mind and choose the positive thoughts. Choose to encourage yourself and tell yourself how great you are, because that's what you deserve. No negative self-talk today, no negative anything. Just keep pushing forward, and tomorrow is going to be a next day. I hope a day fulfilled with yoga as well. Slowly come up to a seated position. Keep your eyes closed. Be grateful that you showed up on your mat and that you did something for yourself. Thank you so much. If you like this class, please push the like button. And if you really like this class, it would help me to receive some donations to keep these classes running. You'll find the link below. And see you next time. Thanks for joining me. Namaste.